From America the Beautiful, welcome to another episode of iGaming Daily. I'm Fernando Noodt, Senior Business Journalist for SBC Noticias, and your host for today from the beautiful United States, because we're here for SBC Summit Americas 2025, connecting worlds through gaming, an amazing event with people from all over the Americas, both North America, Central America, and the Caribbean, and of course South America as well, with the bus from Brazil still going, and everyone wants to know what's up, what's going on, and they are all waiting and seeing, but they are taking action here in SBC Summit Americas 2025. But if you want to know more about the event, just wait and stick with us till the end of the episode, because we will have Jessica Welman with a brief about what's going on SBC Summit Americas. But to discuss what's been going on in the rest of Latin America, in the industry, and from a news side, today I have with me Lucía Gando, the boss, editor for SBC Noticias. Lucía, how are you today?
Hello, Fer. I'm happy we're here in the U.S. Succeeding once again with our Latin America event, this time combined with North America, which I think it was a great idea to gather the markets and enhance the opportunities for everyone.
Yeah, the conference room for the Latin America, you actually were chairing that room. The conference room for the Latin American panels, and those were packed. So people are really wanting to know what's up in Latin America. So if people want to know what's up in Latin America, they definitely should subscribe to SBC Noticias newsletter and listen to this podcast, like it, and follow us on TikTok, because we're also on TikTok. Just search for iGaming Daily Podcast on TikTok and it will show up. But to discuss the buzz that Brazil is still, the buzz still going on in Brazil, also with us is Ricardo Assis, editor for SBC Noticias Brazil. Ricardo, how are you today?
Hey, Fer. Everything is going on great. The event has been wonderful. I think it has loads of people from Brazil as well. I've been able to talk with major players in the industry in Brazil, so it's been informative. It's been nice to get some more contacts. So it's been amazing. But Brazil is on fire right now with the CPIs, and I am with one eye in the event and one eye at the CPIs.
Okay, and before we discuss what's going on in Brazil, let's thank Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market and sponsor of iGaming Daily. I had the chance to be with the Optimove guys this week, so great people, and thank you very much for supporting iGaming Daily. But Ricardo, you were saying that there's a lot going on in Brazil. It's been a great week in Fort Lauderdale, because a lot of people of all over the Americas are gathering, of course, in the main event of the gaming industry in the continent. But one thing that has been on everyone's mouths, like if you run into someone that's aware about Brazil and its market, which is probably everyone here, they are talking about what's happening down south in Brazil, and more specifically at the CPI das Bets, or the CPI, the commission, the legislative commission that's investigating the betting industry.
Yeah, so this week the CPI has summoned 2 influencers to testify, and on Tuesday, Virginia, one of the biggest influencers, testified in the CPI, and it was like a circus, because since the beginning it was a really strange vibe. One of the senators went up and asked her to record a video for his wife. So it was not serious at all. It was really strange.
It sounds like they were a bit starstruck, right, with the influencer, instead of just making the questions they had to make.
Yeah. And they did a few questions, and at some point she did give some good answers, like when Soraya Tronic, the realtor of the CPI, asked her why she was doing advertising for bets. She swiftly responded, "That's because you legalized it, you regulated it. So if it's so wrong, you should prohibit it. It's not up to me to decide it." It was a good answer for her, and she opted for a more humble look. She's an influencer that always likes to use flashy stuff, and She went to the CPI with a jacket with the face of her daughter. So it was like semi-optics shows as well to present her as a humble girl and a younger girl. So I think she stick up to the plan from her lawyers in a good way, because it gives her a more serene look than if she went all dressed up. And one of the points that the senators have asked the influencers were about the contracts that they have with these bets, with the betting companies, because there has been some rumors that the influencers had contracts where they get more money as the bettors lose money. And she explained that it's not like this. It's more like a normal affiliate contract. Like if people put money in the platform, she gets a rev share of it. So it was difficult to the senators to understand it, but she pointed out that it's something that happens in betting industry and all other industries that work with affiliates. So it's nothing different than, like, for example, you're going to buy a shoe for a link that an influencer has advertised. The influencer is going to get a share of what you bought. So it's the same stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a bit to go back to the question about why she advertising gaming, and because you legalized it. I think it's a bit exaggerated, because the whole point of her being there is to understand how advertising is working. And of course, there's a heavily responsible side to be taken into account when advertising the gaming industry, because we all want the industry to be responsible with its operations, whether it's their bonuses and all the stuff, but also the advertising, which is probably the first thing a consumer sees when interacting with the gaming industry. So I think it was clever. Maybe it was clever, the answer, but I think it's a bit exaggerated to say, hey, I can do whatever I want because you guys allowed it and you didn't maybe consider that I should not be liable for advertising in a certain way. So it definitely needs to be taken in a delicate way, because it's not just like that.
No, for sure. But it was in a sense that they were questioning her, like it is in a sense of morality, and she pointed out, like, this is something that it's legal. I can advertise. There are some rules that I need to follow, she pointed out, but there is nothing wrong with advertising, because this is a regulated sector, regulated by you guys. So it was in that sense that she pointed out. And apart from that, Rico Melquiades, another influencer, went on yesterday, and we had a brilliant moment where the senators asked him to demonstrate how online game casino worked, and he put on Fortune Tiger and started playing and showing to the senators how it works. So yeah,
the tigrinho, as you guys call it.
Yeah, there were a moment that he actually said, like, oh, now the tiger has lent me the card, so if I complete it, I will win some more money. And he won, and then the Senator Soraya asked him, like, oh, you should keep playing. And he said, like, no, I'm fine. So, and then he stopped. And
that's smart.
They went back to the audience.
Yeah. But in spite of what happened at Congress, the industry continues to prove a major revenue generator for Brazil, right?
Yeah, so Estadão, a big journal here in Brazil, got the information that in the first 3 months of the regulated market, the taxes from fiscalization for oversight has been 21.5 million that the government has gotten from this end. This is just a small part, because they did not put on a full report yet. I've talked with the Carolina Yumi, who is the vice deputy of sports betting, and she said to me that the first report is going to be released in the first week of July. It's going to be about the first 6 months, so it will take a little bit longer for us to have the full numbers. But these are good numbers in a first sense, and apart from that, we do not have anything else from official sources, because the government is waiting to consolidate the numbers after a little bit longer, because they say that 3 months it's a little bit too short understand, because there are people that are still trying to get the license, so they want a little bit more time to give the full numbers.
They are waiting and seeing, evidently. But if you are wanting to wait and see, but to wait and read, make sure you subscribe to SBC Noticias Brazil newsletter and also follow SBC Noticias Brazil both on LinkedIn and on Instagram, because SBC Noticias Brazil has a very good Instagram account where we post all this information and more. So make sure you like, subscribe, and all that stuff. I'm starting to sound like a YouTuber now, so let's move on and take a quick flight to Argentina, to the region of Cuyo, or Cuyo, depending on how you pronounce it in your countries, because Argentina is looking to push regulation. Actually, not Argentina, but the province of San Juan. Lu, what's the news story there?
Yes, well, we already know that Argentina doesn't have a nationwide regulation, so each province is joining the legal market each by each. So now we have San Juan in El Cuyo that already approved a regulation, but is now dictating the framework to activate that regulation that was signed last year. So that would be good. Mendoza is already active in that region, so it would be beneficial for the Argentinian market as a whole to keep working on a legal framework. We know also that regulations are very similar, so it will be nice to keep seeing the industry expanding in the country with legal basis, right?
Yes, definitely, because like you said, each province has the authority to regulate their own iGaming industry, their own gaming industry as a whole. So it's definitely needed, it's definitely necessary that each province effectively regulates the industry so that illegal operations don't thrive on each one of these territories. Now, most of the provinces in Argentina have already passed their own regulation, but there are still a few that need to update their old legislation to adapt to the new technology and the new state of the industry. So it's definitely good news from San Juan, but we continue to add miles to our program and we fly to Paraguay, where the executive branch of the government published a decree regulating law number 7,438, which is not that important, I guess, for you, but if you want to check the number again, we will leave the link to this article in the description so you can check it out in detail, which amends the previous law of gaming regulation in the country, and it aims to end the monopoly of sports betting industry in the country, and also modernize and strengthen regulation in the sector in Paraguay. Among the amendments in this legislation is the inclusion of the National Gaming Commission, which is CONAXAR. You have probably heard about it or read about it if you are subscribed to SBC Noticias newsletter. And it's now a decentralized body of the National Directorate of Tax Revenue, the DNIT, if I may pronounce it in any way. So yeah, from now on, CONAXAR will have the power to authorize the operation of games of chance, also issue gambling regulation at the national, departmental and municipal levels, issue its own operating regulation as a collegiate body, approve new types of games of chance, prepare and approve the terms of conditions for tenders or concessions, authorize calls for public bids, award licenses or concessions, and request assistance from the National Institute of Statistics and Censuses, the NIT. So yeah, for the authorization of the public bids or concessions for the operation of games of chance, the approval of the terms and conditions by the NIT will be an essential requirement. So it's a change of jurisdiction, let's say, for CONAXAR. So definitely looking forward to what this will generate in Paraguay, how this will change the landscape of the gaming industry in Paraguay, which seemed to be a bit stuck at some point with the monopoly, but I'm really excited to wait and see what happens in Paraguay as well. But not everything is about online gaming, even though this is the iGaming Daily podcast, the iGaming Daily. But there's some land-based news coming out of Uruguay with the Casino Cipriani, or this project that's set to be built in Uruguay.
Yeah, well, it's the largest investment in Uruguay right now, so it's attracting a lot of news. But the owner, the Italian businessman that owns the company, Cipriani himself, told us that, well, not us, but the media in general, that the whole casino resort is going to be open by September next year. So that's a huge announcement. They've been developing this project since the past 4 years at least. So it's great news. But he said that he will push for the government to approve an iGaming regulation in the country. Right now, Uruguay doesn't have one, and the only platform that is allowed is operated by the government. So he's trying to open the market there because he says that a land-based casino wouldn't work right now if there is no online gaming option to boost the brand. So yes, that's the news there.
Right, that was a major requirement for them to actually invest that amount of money, which is like push for an online gaming regulation that's appealing for the private sector. So we've been waiting and seeing for long enough now, and this is another delay for the Cipriani development project in Uruguay, but at least they are giving us a date to be excited about, maybe. So we'll wait and see again in Uruguay, in this case, what happens with Cipriani. But now it is time to wrap this up. Thank you very much, Lou. Thank you very much, Ricardo and Anaya McDonald, for producing this episode. And I'm Fernando Noodt. Stick around to hear from Jess Welman what's going on SBC Summit Americas. And to all listeners out there, we'll see you in the next one.
Hello, everyone. Jessica Welman, managing editor of SBC Media. Sad to not be holding down the fort from the iGaming Daily studio, aka my desk, but very thrilled to be reporting to you live from Florida and our first ever SBC Summit Americas event. Guys, I cannot tell you how big the show floor is. I walked in and it just felt unlike any LatAm or American event that we'd had. It looked really huge, lots of bustling activity. But you know me, I'm a big nerd, and I spent most of my day both moderating content and watching the conference content. So far this week on the American front, everybody is talking about prediction markets. There's a little bit of a sweeps discussion still, and that's still top of mind, but the prediction market discussion continues to be one that comes up in every single panel related or unrelated to the topic, which is interesting because I am about to head to the actual prediction market panel where the conversation's going to happen. Had a really good conversation with people about these kind of potential federal shakeups. And I think that some of us are realizing the prediction market is not the only case to be paying attention to. The horse racing case, the advanced deposit wagering case out of Michigan continues to be one to keep an eye on. And of course, everyone's keeping an eye on sweeps still as well. It is a hot topic, just not the hottest topic, so much so that I joked to someone that we were walking into the regulated DFS panel and the difference between DFS and sports betting going, old news right now. Needless to say, what's been the most fascinating about this event for me is that all of the discussion is about these nascent, unregulated spaces, lottery couriers, DFS, sweepstakes, prediction markets. And certainly we have big players here. I got to speak with Abby Merck of BetMGM about how they're growing online poker. I had a great chat with Ari Broad of Fanatics about how they've positioned themselves. And I think we'll always be talking about the regulated market, but to me, the excitement and the interest and the enthusiasm continues to be about these kind of nascent spaces and how they're going to potentially shake up what can sometimes feel like a little bit of a stale situation for the regulated space. On the LatAm front, we have the LatAm team out here, and I've talked to them a bit, and they've said that things have been going really well and really interesting. I will be honest, I've not gotten to check out much of their content, but we'll have to get that team on next week to decompress and tell you what happened on that side. And in the meantime, I'm about to head back for another big day, ending with a party featuring DJ Steve Aoki, in which, I'm not joking, I'm going to have to potentially avoid having cake thrown at me because this is apparently something that he does. Needless to say, SBC Summit America is an event unlike any other.